And I'm loving life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. I'm loving life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. And I'm loving life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. And I'm loving life with friends.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Love&Life. Woohoo! I'm so excited today. To be fair, I think I'm always excited most of the time. But yeah, I'm really excited today. I have a special sister, a friend, someone that's very, very dear to my heart. Just honestly, I'm very excited. But yeah, I've got Favour with me today. Woo! Honestly, Favour, our story is just something that I always think about, how God is so intentional, so intentional. Like we met when we were, was it 13? I don't even,
like 12 maybe.
Is it 12? Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very, like many years ago. We were literally kids and we just gelled then. We went to this summer camp and honestly, I would literally plug it. Digitest. I don't think it's still going, but Digitest, man.
About it in a while.
It was so good. So it was 2 weeks long. It was like an IT camp. And for you guys who watched season 1, Ruby, who was a guest on season 1 as well, I met at Digitest when we were. Yeah, did you not know? Yes, I met Ruby at Digitest as well. Literally the same 2 weeks, like the same way I met you.
What state was that?
It was the Abuja one. I think we met at the Abuja one. There were two Abuja ones. So we met at the Abuja one at Stella Maris in 2009. Yes, and then there was the Abuja one at Premier, and I think in 2012.
Yeah, I think Stella Maris was my last one.
It was, because I did see you. So this is part of the story, guys. Okay, do you know what? I think we're jumping ahead. I'm going to ask Favour to introduce herself, and then we're going to start telling the story. So yes, over to you.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Favour. I am an economist and I also write. So I do poetry, both written and spoken word as well.
Yes, an incredibly talented poet. You guys should check her out. She's amazing and big brains here as well. Cambridge and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we met at Digitest many years ago, and I remember we just gelled. We were roommates.
Yeah.
We were roommates and you were there with your siblings.
Yeah.
And then we just gelled. And that year, everyone kept calling us twins. I guess because obviously you're light skin, I'm dark. I don't know. But everyone was like, oh, they're twins because we were like inseparable at camp. Yeah. And then we both had glasses. We were both very nerdy looking, if I'm honest. And then we were both very like skinny. And then you used to dance. Do you remember?
I remember. I feel like I'm still a stepper. Like I can dance.
Give it to them. Maybe you give us some steps today.
Bust some moves.
Bust the movement. But yeah, literally you're very popular for your dancing. You used to dance like that,
no, not really.
Hey, God, dude.
I know.
We need to bring
sad,
it back.
So
This girl, if you see the moves, I just used to be the hyping friend in the background, like, that's my friend. But yeah, so we met way back when, and then we kind of just, we just went away. Like literally. We just, that was
like,
it.
I just not see you again.
Wow, girl, I didn't see you again. But yeah, so we just life happened. We all just like went our different ways, and then sometime, was it 2 years ago now?
It was 2021.
It's 2021.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. 2021.
It was 2021. Okay. You popped up on my explore page. Yeah. Thank the Lord for the internet. As much as sometimes I fight social media, I'm joking. But you popped up on my explore page, and I was like, oh my gosh. And because you do have a very distinct name, the moment I saw you and I was like, I know her. And the minute I opened up your page, I was like, it's Favour. It's my twin from it was like, how many years? Where have you been? Literally, it was after many years, then I reached out, and then we reconnected, and it's just been such a blessing since then. So today Favour and I are going to talk about a very important aspect of friendship, which I've had lots of conversations and questions about generally, and it's about friendship hurt, or like healing from friendship hurt, if you like, because obviously when we talk about friendship and stuff, ultimately we are two imperfect human beings in whatever setting. And what that means is that there's the potential to hurt each other. There's the possibility of somebody getting hurt.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's something that I've experienced. That's something you've experienced. So we're going to be talking through that today. So I guess maybe to like establish friendship hurt, I think it goes without saying what it is, but when you think about it, what are the kind of things that that make friendship hurt? What kind of things happen in friendships that could cause hurt? And have you experienced that? And in what way have you sort of experienced that? So I know that's a loaded group of questions, but just jump into it from wherever. Like, what is friendship hurt? What do you think about when you hear friendship hurt?
Yeah, I think friendship hurt is, I feel like it has different levels, but like the very basic one is, you know, you are friends with someone and then they don't meet an expectation that you have. You know, that can hurt you, and it's like, oh, I expected you to do this and then you didn't. And then there is another one where you are friends with someone and then they betray your trust.
Right.
Yeah, I think those are like the two very common ones. And I would say, for me personally, I think everyone has experienced friendship hurt in like
to some degree.
Even in like every friendship we've had, I feel like your friends will hurt you. That's just the truth. One, because you guys are very different people, and you have very different experiences, you have very different expectations. And sometimes if you don't voice those expectations, you know, they might know, they might not know, they might, you know, not meet up to expectations, and they could hurt you. So I feel like everyone has experienced friendship hurt in every friendship that they have.
Yeah.
But then it now depends on what degree of hurt it is, and how you either come back from it or deal with it or things like that. So I'll say friendship hurt it's a lot more common than we care to admit. I think it's also because a lot of times we focus on like hurt from like relationships. So this person broke my heart, but then your friends can really
serve you breakfast.
Whoa, they can really,
breakfast.
Yeah, they can really serve you breakfast.
Lord,
I think,
mercy.
yeah. Me personally, I don't think there's any friendship I have that I've said we've never had a hitch, or we've never had a misunderstanding, or a time when they hurt me or I hurt them. So yeah, it's pretty universal.
Wow. Do you know what? That's a very interesting and important perspective, because I think many times when even me, when I think about friendship hurt, I usually think about what was done to you.
Yeah,
and
it's like
so serious. Like, but you make a very good point of, even on a regular, you know, there might be little things here and there that happen. And the truth is, sometimes when you don't address those little things, it compiles.
Yes.
And then one day there's just one, like, and then you'll be wondering, is it just, is it this small?
I didn't know.
I didn't know that. But it wasn't just that thing, it was a series. So let's actually get into the topic of communicating, because I love what you said there about, you know, sharing and saying, oh, you know, I had this expectation that wasn't met.
Yeah.
Because I think that's healthy, because when we do that, you're less likely to collect things and then it blows up.
Yeah.
Or even, I don't even know which is worse, or collect things and then start getting resentful to somebody towards somebody that's supposed to be your friend, which is not the way we want to live, right? So how do you communicate without, at the same time, obviously you want to maintain steeze and composure.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the pick me friend, like love me,
Like,
love me, please. But it's like, you know, we've talked a lot about love languages here. How do you communicate? It's almost like how you want to be loved, or if something's already happened, how do you, because we want to be those friends, right? I want my friend to feel safe enough to even know that, oh, if I hurt Fola in any way, I know she would tell me. So I know that we're okay until she tells me otherwise, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you create that? How do you open up? How do you communicate?
Oh man.
Sorry, it's a lot.
That's a really good question. I'll say, first off, just the way like friendship hurt in itself can be a collection of things. I think creating that space where people can be vulnerable with you is also a collection of things, right? So it's you intentionally saying, this is my friend and I want them to feel safe with me. So actively creating that space. And just like you said, love languages. There's some people who want you to tell them that I'm here for you. I will, you have a safe space with me, that kind of thing. And there are people who want you to show them that. So like how you show up for them, how you do things for them and stuff like that. So I think in terms of creating a space where people feel like, okay, I can be vulnerable with this person and tell them when they have hurt me, is because in other situations, you have shown me that I can be safe with you, either by telling me or by actually, showing me, by actually doing something for me. So I think in terms of creating that space where someone can be vulnerable with you, it's a daily thing. It's about how you are able to make them feel safe, make them feel heard, make them feel seen, even from the most random things, right? I think that's one way of creating a space of vulnerability. And then there's another way of actually being very intentional about it and almost doing like a peer review and saying, okay, how
the academic is talking now.
How would you say like our relationship has been? Do you feel safe here? And what do you think I should do to make you feel safe? Is one thing. It can be very awkward, but I like to do it with my friends. I feel like
you've not done it with me. Please, I'm signing up for my own.
Yeah, we're getting to that place where we do the peer review. But yeah, I like to do that with my friends also because it's very easy to like get lost in the everyday thing. Like you guys are talking, you guys are sharing memes and stuff like that. But then you're not really checking the health of your friendship, like actively sitting down, taking some space and saying, how is this friendship? Like, are we actually like, are we good? Like, is everything fine? Should I do things better? I feel like that almost like triples everything that you do in terms of like the daily regular stuff, because taking that space and saying we're shutting everything out and we're focusing on our friendship and we're doing a sense check. Is everything fine? Is everything okay? Is there a way that we need to be more vulnerable and make things better? You actually see that sometimes there's something I did that pissed them off one time, but they just said, oh, let me just let it go. But then people deal with things differently. Some people might actually let it go and some people might begin to color the rest of your interactions with them. And then you're thinking, oh, something kind of feels odd, but maybe not really, because you're not taking the time to ask, like, is everything really okay? Is this something I've done? Like, are we fine? That kind of thing. So I think taking that time and just blocking everything out and saying, let's have a sense check of our friendship. Are we good? Are we fine? Is there anything you want to discuss? Does help people see that, okay, yeah, if you do hurt me, depending on the degree of the hurt, but if you do hurt me at all, I can come to you and tell you that you've hurt me, and I feel safe enough to do that because we have always been able to create a space where we can talk about the hard things and just do like a sense check of our friendship. So I think being able to do that as well, aside from the other things of like showing up and words of affirmation, but just creating that space and saying, let's sit down and really look at our friendship, does help people to be vulnerable. And I've seen that, like, every time I've done that, just a random sense check, people come and say, yeah, you did something that actually pissed me off one time, and I'm really grateful that they did give me the grace to come to that place where we could talk about it, and they didn't just say, oh, this thing pissed me off, you're out the door, right? But they did like give me that grace, and then we came to that space and we had the conversation. And in the midst of the sense check, we also saw things that, oh yeah, this is something that has happened, you hurt me or I hurt you, and then let's fix it. So I've seen that has really worked for me and my friendships, just having that space where we can talk through our friendships and be sure that everything's okay. It does help. Yeah,
this is so good. And it's not something we stop to think about. It's like life is busy, adulting, responsibilities. So you're just going. And like you said, do a couple memes here.
Yeah, exactly.
We just laugh and that means we're okay. But it's true. There's things that it's when you sit down and you start to think about it. One of my friends is very corny, but she'll always say, if you don't think, you sink. It's very, very corny. Don't leave me. But it's true. Sometimes you just need to take the time to think. And your answer was so loaded, and it just alludes to so much we've even been discussing as well on Love and Life. One of them is conversation before cancellation, because I think, we're again in this space where look out for yourself, don't let anybody. So before two things happen, you're like, no, cut quickly. My friend, correct. Like, I don't have time for this. I can't take it. I deserve better. All of that kind of stuff. And well, that has its place, but ultimately have the conversation, do it. Also, because we like to get really, really practical, can you share with us, since you've like done a few of these peer reviews, one situation where maybe a friend reached out to you about something that surprised you a bit, that you're like, whoa, and then how do you move on from that? Because obviously sometimes we're really sensitive, and even when we do the peer review, we just want to hear that everything is, you know, A-okay, and then you hear that, like, ouch. So how do you deal with that, and then how do you like move on and be stronger for it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not too recent, but it's one that has stuck with me for a while. I did have a peer review with a friend.
Peer review is sending me.
That was not scheduled. So like we're having a conversation. You know, like there are different kinds of friendships. There are some friendships where you don't really need to talk all the time, and it's quite low maintenance, and it's fine. So I have a very close friend who we're like that. We don't have to talk every day, but like when we talk, it's like we have always been talking like every single day. So she's one of my closest friends. But then I do have another friend who I didn't know at the time kind of needed that regular, constant communication. But I thought, if one of my closest friends, like my sisters, I don't need to talk to her all the time. Sure, I feel like, it should be fine for all my friendships. But it wasn't the case, and I didn't know that. So one day we're having a conversation, and then she told me, Favour, I need to tell you something. I'm like, yeah, told me it was like gist or something. And then she's like, you did this and this, and you've not been very present, and this really hurts me. And one, I wasn't ready for it. Like I didn't see it coming. So
she wasn't ready.
So it really took me by surprise. But then when she was like talking to me, I could see how much I had hurt her.
Wow.
What eventually did happen was like I was actually very grateful that she did give me the grace to explain myself, because with how much hurt I was seeing from her, it's understandable if she says, you know what, I've tried to reach her a couple of times. I feel like you're not like being there for me. I can't keep doing this. Like I feel like I'm giving more than 50% almost all the time. It's understandable if she says this friendship isn't working for me and I just want to call it quits. Like, I can't deal with this. I would understand because of the way it had hurt her. But then I was not in the know. Like I didn't realize I was hurting her that much by not being there. And I didn't realize that she thought that I was not pulling my own weight in the friendship, right? Because I wasn't regularly communicating with her. But because I saw that she, even in the midst of that hurt, she was able to give me the grace to explain myself, give me the grace to get better at our friendship. I was very grateful for that. And she's someone that I love dearly. So if I lost her a friend, I would have been devastated. So I was really thankful that she gave me that grace, right, to explain myself, despite the fact that she was really hurting from the fact that I wasn't there. So yeah, that's one thing that has really stuck with me, because I've realized that a lot of times we can say, I like my friend, but then when they hurt us, we then begin to color every other thing that they do from that one thing, and we kind of forget the fact that this person has done like 10 good things, and then they've done this one thing, and so the other 10 things don't matter. But yeah, she did give me the grace, and we spoke about it, and I have become better in the friendship because of it. So that's one place where I've hurt somebody, right? And I've seen how they've handled it, and they have shown me grace in that sense. And so that was a learning point for me as well. So when I come to a place where someone does hurt me, I give them grace, and I ask like, what's going on? Why did this happen? That kind of thing. So yeah, that's one thing I've learned, or like that's one experience I've had from friendship hurt from the other side.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing that, because I think we're always very quick to think about when somebody else like when somebody else hurts me and then I had to go and speak to them. But and there's so much humility in what you said, in being able to, for both friends, there's humility in being able to say, you know what, this person has hurt me, but I'm not just going to be like, well, you hurt me, that's the end. The humility it takes to approach that person and say, this happened, it hurt me, I feel this way about it. Almost like, why? You're inviting that conversation. It takes humility to not just be like, well, I'm shutting it down. But then on the other side, it then takes it to be met with equal humility, where the friend is then like, oh, okay. Even if you didn't know, even if you didn't expect it, the humility it takes to stop and introspect and be like, actually,
and actually receive what they're saying,
and hear it. And this is another, I just love how we keep circling around concepts we've talked about. Listening as a skill was a big one from season 1, because many times we're saying how we listen defensively, like while somebody's saying something, you're just listening out for the parts where okay, but it's like, no, hear their hearts. And there's something you even said, you said I could just see how much hurt like she was carrying in sharing that with me. That's a beautiful thing, where you're seeing beyond what the person is saying. You're even seeing the hurt. You're seeing I think it really does take conversation to the next level and vulnerability to the next level. And then that's a big win for that friendship, because now you've overcome that, and then you can both be stronger for it. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
But I guess now let's come to where you've been hurt. So that was like a situation of, okay, maybe you hurt somebody and then they told you. But when you think about like your journey in friendship so far, let's talk about a situation where you've been hurt and how that has unfolded. Is that a word? English.
Unfolded is it?
It's a word. Sorry.
You're fine.
It's early. But so let's talk about your journey with friendship hurt.
I think it's been very interesting experiencing friendship hurt. I would say, like I said, it's to different degrees. Like there are some that people are just annoying, and you're like, bro, and then
fix up.
And then there's the case where it's like really goes to another level, and you're like, yeah, this is a bit much. From the one where it's just like regular, maybe person pissed you off, or person did something, or they didn't meet some kind of expectation. I think it's more about having the conversation and saying, hey, this thing that you've done, I wasn't really happy with it, that kind of thing. And that's also because you guys have a space where you can be vulnerable about things and talk about things. And then there's a situation where it's a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. Like you said, especially, I think for my most significant one, it was something that had built up over time. And that was the mistake that I made. Like, it was a lot of hurt that I did not address, a lot of things that were done that I did not address. I just kept making excuses for and saying, just making excuses for you and just saying, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, till it got like really, 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 really bad. And how I've had to deal with it is that personally, the friendship just could not be saved, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So I think those kind of things do happen. Unfortunately, that friendship could not be saved. But what I learned from that is that you kind of have to address everything, no matter how uncomfortable it is. You have to address everything that happens. Now the challenge is, if it's happening all the time, then that's a bit problematic, So I think at the end of the day, it can also be like a person, a character thing. But how I personally have had to deal with that was, in as much as that happened, in as much as it was just ridiculous in the way it like grew and how things became, I still did reach out and I was like, okay, let's have a conversation. Our friendship might not be able to come back to life, but then I think we should part ways amicably, just because in as much as things have happened over the years, we've still had moments in our friendship that were genuine, that were true, and so we should honor that by actually ending things properly. So that was how I tried to deal with it. But then unfortunately, the timing was wrong, because other things happened. I was just like, so we couldn't have that conversation, which is unfortunate. But I would say I did reach out and say, let's have a conversation. So if all things had worked out, we would have had a conversation and actually part ways amicably. That's how I like to deal with things. I don't really lose friends too often. Okay. So typically when I feel like we need to have a conversation and fix a friendship, I will, because I'm someone who believes that friendships are for life. So if we are having hitches, let's sit down and fix it. Let's work it out. You're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere. We have to make it work. But then unfortunately, that was a situation where we had to part ways. So I think it's kind of realizing that some things you have to let go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. Again, there's so much in there.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think is consistently coming through is just conversation.
Yeah.
Honestly, tough conversations are necessary. Tough conversations save lives, if we're honest. And they're tough for a reason. It's hard to have that conversation. Sometimes it will come with tears. Sometimes it will come with, just you hear things that you don't want to hear, but it should make you better ultimately. And I think I always say, some of the skills that we learn in friendship, in fact, most of them, they just help us in everything. Whether it's at work, being able to set boundaries, being able to have conversations, whether it's in marriage and in actual like romantic relationships, these skills that you've practiced, if you've practiced it well in your friendships, it should then be easy to do like transferable skills and just carry it over into like, so that's great. But that's tough, Sha. That's tough.
It's tough. No, it's very tough. It's very, very tough. I think like
it's hard.
It's quite hard when you realize, this friendship kind of has run its course. Especially when we're not planning that it should. Like when you guys became friends, that was not the plan. The plan was, friends for life. So to have to come to a place where you're like, I kind of need to protect myself. And unfortunately, it has gotten to that place where that has to be the best decision. It's quite sad.
It's hard. So you've started to answer the next question actually, which is, when do you get to that point of recognizing it's now unsafe at this, like I've tried at this point? Because obviously I love when we were talking about how you very much think friendship is a for life thing, and I think that's the way we should all approach it. But I think that me I've learned to they have shown me, no I'm joking, nobody showed me pepper, but like I've just learned that, you know what, whether it's like seasons, and I think us is a good lesson in that, because we met at 12, 13, parted ways for some like 9, maybe 10. Hey, my maths more. Sorry, that's very bad math. But much more than 10 years, and then we've come. So it was almost like a season thing, and then we've come back together. So, but ultimately, how do you? What are the signs? What are the flags to say, okay, maybe at this point, just. Is it just if you start to feel that it's unsafe? And I think this could just help somebody who's thinking, okay, is this a season? Is my friend going through something? Is it just like a conversation? Or actually, no, is this, I don't like the word, but is this like toxic? Is this like okay, let's end it here? Because I love what you said about, even if we do, there's a way to do it amicably. It doesn't have to be like a big blowout, like, it could be healthy. So first question is like, what are the signs? What are the things that you kind of helped you recognize that, okay, this one, I think we've done well here, let's just park this bus?
I think one thing is how vulnerable you can be with the person. So if you see that you're beginning to keep more things to yourself, like maybe I shouldn't share that, I don't really trust that they will keep it to themselves, I don't know, and then you guys don't have that conversation and say, hey, I feel like it's not, I feel like there's something, for some reason it just feels like I'm being less and less vulnerable with you. Now if you do have that conversation and it's not received well, that is problematic. Then you're like, I don't know why that is going on. Like you said, like active listening. Like if you eventually come to a place where you say, okay, let me actually have this conversation with this person and say, hey, the way our friendship is going, or the way there's some things I'm seeing, some character issues, and I feel like it needs to be worked on, and it's not received properly, then you see that there will be a pullback from you just naturally. You're like, okay, if I've come to this person and said, let's have a conversation, and then it's been met with so much resistance, you just naturally will pull back. I think that's just kind of how we are as human beings. But I feel like one specific flag is how vulnerable you can be with a person. If you begin to feel like I should probably keep this information to myself, something that you would typically share with them, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't really share this, or maybe I shouldn't really share that, and then you begin to kind of trust them less. That is problematic, and it should really be addressed. And it should be addressed from a place of, because no one is perfect, right? So it should be addressed from a place of, this is how I feel. How do you feel? What does the situation actually look like? Aside from how we both feel, what are we actually seeing? And then if that's not received properly, then you know that there there's a problem somewhere. I think another thing is if you also see how they treat people who you would say you're kind of like on the same level of closeness with them.
Right.
So if you're close with someone and they have another close friend and they are just terrible with that person, you're next. So
It's coming for you.
It's coming for you. So I think like that is another thing. I personally like to address things a lot. So if things are not looking very good, then I will talk about it and say, hey, you know. But then there are situations where you don't even feel comfortable enough anymore to talk about those things because you're just always met with, you know, pushback. And, you know, a relationship cannot work that way, whether friendship, whether family, whether friends, whether romantic. If you can't speak to someone candidly and say, this is how I feel, like, things are just not right, you will never solve your problems and it's just going to pile up and pile up and pile up. So I think when it gets to the point where you now completely feel unsafe, then yeah, I think you guys should begin to reconsider what that relationship actually looks like.
Thank you, Favour, for sharing that. So many gems in there, and there's still so much to talk about. So we'll have to continue this in our next episode. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you very much for joining us on another episode of Love and Life Pod. Please remember to subscribe and share the video with a friend. Bye.